Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. Got an amazing broadcast lineup for you this morning. We got a question that we're going to ask today. Let me see. Make sure that I don't have any feedback coming here. Okay, good deal. I think everything is sounding pretty fantastical this morning. I think everything is feeling pretty is sounding pretty fantastical this morning. So we're gonna let you know that the phone lines are open 678-381-1973. 678-381-1973. Give us a call. Now, there's a lot of things that's been going on in and around the community and communities. And I have to say this, man. I have to kick this thing off by saying rest in peace. R.I.P. Mr. Biz Marquis. Lost a legend, y'all. Nobody beats the Biz. Picking boogers. Only she's say he's just a friend. Um, there's so many different. There's a list of great music. This brother and he had what you call feel good music. He didn't have that kind of music that you listen to and political like Public Enemy or different things of that nature. He had music that he just liked to have fun in his music, and he did that, and it came across. He did a fantastic job of bringing it across. So and there's a lot of people that's in the game right now that really have to thank Biz Marquis for what he has done for them, through them, and allowed them to do in the music industry. I was listening to XM Sirius radio the other day, and you had so many different stars, man, so many people that came about, that came and just was thanking Biz Marquis. Yeah, you wouldn't think that these people, even people to the Boosie Collins. Boosie Collins is absolute old school. The Parliament Funkadelic, Bootzilla, baby. Y'all know the one, Bootzilla. He was on there thanking Biz Marquis and telling how much he loved and admired this young man. Biz Marquis left a imprint. It left his footprint on a lot of people, man, in their lives. And that's what we have to do, man. We really have to leave that footprint, leave that footprint on the lives of people that's around us that we care about, that makes a difference in our lives. And Biz, you did a great job, brother. You did a great job. Your music will live forever. I guarantee you, man, that 20, 30, 40 years ago from now, somebody gonna put that song on up Picking Boogers, and they're like, what is that? And then they're gonna listen to it, and before you know it, they're gonna be, oh man, they're Picking Boogers. Dun, dun, and nobody beats the Biz. And that's a song right there. I'm gonna tell you something. That's a song, Nobody Beats the Biz. You don't have to be the best singer. Just have fun with it. You ain't got to be the best singer in the world to join right in. And I guarantee you, before you know it, everybody gonna be having a party. Nobody beats the Biz. That guy was a musician, a DJ. Biz did it all. Biz did it all, and he will, without a doubt, will be missed. So rest in peace, my brother, Mr. Biz Marquis. Nobody beats the Biz. Nobody beats the Biz. Now, I'm waiting on our brother Leonard to come on with this. He's gonna catch us up to speed on the political arena. Leonard been on vacation and he's back with us. He'll be back with us this morning, and he's going to be talking about the political arena, what's going on in the political world. That's this brother, man. He got an ear for that politics. He have an ear for politics, man, and I guarantee you, if you want to know something about politics, Captain Leonard gonna be the one to tell you. But what is going on with you all? Like I said, I do have a topic today, and let me go ahead and tell you. We're going to talk about who understands you. Who understands you is going to be our topic today. Who understands you? Is there anybody out there that really understands you? Do you understand yourself? Do you understand you? See, that's the issue right there. We want people to understand us. And we talk about it, we talk about it, we talk about it. Want people to understand us, but do we understand ourselves? Do we really understand ourselves? Do we know us? Yeah. you've been with you longer than anybody else outside your mom, I guess. Because your mom was here when you came. When you made that transition and you came out that birth canal. Your mom was there. Your mom was there that day, and so y'all been with each other the same amount of days. You talk about your mama. Sometimes your daddy was there too. Sometimes your daddy was there, but not all the time. Your daddy wasn't always there all the time. So, but your mama was there. Your mama was laying on that table, and she was doing the pushing. She was doing the pushing, and you were doing the swimming. You were trying to swim up out of there, and she was trying to push you up out of there. So, I'm just saying, your mama been there the whole time. Your mama been there the whole time, and so you got to understand that with your mama been there. So appreciate your mama. Appreciate your mama. I get silly sometimes, but there's some seriousness in what I just said. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning. Oh, we had a call and we lost the call just like that. Hopefully they're gonna call right back in. There they go. There we go. We had a call, we lost the call, and we got a call right back. Good morning, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what's up, right here? What's going on?
What's going on?
It's Kirk from Charles City, baby. What's going on with you?
Hey, we asking a question, and before we go any further, Kurt, I had to take a moment this morning. We lost another legend, brother. The legendary Biz Markie, man, went home to glory.
Oh,
yeah,
And I was peeping that Saturday.
Yeah. And I'm here, and I'm here to say it. I'm here to say it in his words. Nobody beats the Biz. That brother, man. Go ahead.
Nah, you ain't kidding, man. I just found out. I know all this time that he lived right here in Silver Spring.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, right up under your nose.
I tell you what. Whoever is his inheritance, hey man, they inherited. I don't know if you ever seen a run up on Biz, but they inherited a major piece of hip hop because he's considered one of the greatest hip hop memorabilia of all.
Yeah.
Like he got ticket stubs from like the first hip hop show, like Grandmaster Melly Mel and Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5. He still got the original tickets, a lot of hip hop memorabilia. Mm-hmm. This guy got a basic museum.
Yeah.
He could create his own museum.
And see, I was looking at over well, this is the XM, a lot when I'm driving and stuff like that, man. And so they had on the hip hop channel, they had people paying homage to him, man, and you'll be amazed all the people that he touched in the hip hop arena, man. Not only that, man, man, Bootsy Collins, Bootzilla, baby, called in and showed homage to Biz, how much he honored and respected that man for what he did, man, and his artistry. And everybody said he was like a big teddy bear, man. Everybody talking about he was a big teddy bear, man. He was, he just like having a good time, man. Say Biz was just a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. I remember seeing him on. I remember Biz Markie taught me that no matter how big of a mistake you make, right, the show must go on. And just because you make a mistake, that don't mean you stop.
Yeah. Now I know something happened. Now I know something happened. There got to be a story behind that. And we got Captain Leonard with us as well. We're gonna switch over to Captain Leonard in just a second. But tell us the story. What did Biz do, man?
It was Fresh Festival. I want to say Fresh Festival 80, 86, 87. And they used to air it. I don't know if you remember this, but it only ran for about 2 years, and then they stopped it. But it used to air like worldwide. So all of your hip hop dudes, no matter if they was on tour somewhere, they would satellite to their concert. If they was in New York, of course, it was a big concert in New York. And Biz took the song. He took the stage. And you remember the song? I think it's "You Got What I Need." Yeah. You say he's just a friend.
Yeah.
And me and all my crew, we was in the studio that day because we was laying tracks, getting ready to drop a couple singles or whatever. So we all watching it as we writing and all that. Biz takes the stage, and you remember the part in the song? Love you. Remember the part in the song when he say everything sounded so dandy and sweet. I had no idea. Yeah, I was in for a treat.
Yeah.
After getting, you know that part, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Biz got so heavy into what he was saying, man. In the moment, because it was like hip hop, like it's the first time hip hop been aired internationally on TV, right? He got so caught in the moment. That mother said, everything sounded so dandy and weak. I had I would win for a week. Man, the whole erupted. Like, I mean, it was love, it was laughter, and then all of us realized he ain't put that mic down. No, he kept going.
Yeah, exactly.
So it kind of taught us that no matter what the errors are, hey, you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going, baby. You gotta keep going. So
now Kurt, let me ask you.
This is just a special kind of dude.
Exactly. Now let me ask you this: how have that lesson right there helped you on the stage?
Oh, every day, every time I'm on stage. I just got finished doing the show, brother. Probably the most hardest experience I ever had in my life, man. But the deepest experience. It took me like almost 4 days to come down. Right?
Wow.
You don't get this. There's no director. The producer hands you the script, but you don't get the script until you're introduced to the audience to take the stage. So you get to the stage, the producer hands you an envelope, and in the envelope is the script.
Wow.
Once you open that envelope, you start reading. You got the script right there. You start reading, but in that case, man, I there's not an actor on the planet that's going to tell me that they're not going to make a mistake, and it's just impossible. And lessons like when I seen Biz do that, just let me know that, like, okay, Kurt, it's all right to make a mistake. Don't nobody out there know what's in this, what you got to read. You know what I mean? Just the show must go on. Keep going. Don't worry about it. Put it behind you and keep it pushing.
And I'm going to go to Leonard, but I want to make a confession. I'm gonna make a personal confession about something that happened to me. Kurt, you remember very well. We was on the stage, brother, Not Without God, and we had an audience. The audience was there, man, and you and I we had that scene together. And you say, look here, Raheem. If you get a line, if something flutter, don't worry about it, man. I got you. We're gonna make it through this. Come on, we got this. I was like, man, I'm looking out there, man. You know, man, this whole audience full of people, man. You know, woo. And so I had to block them out. But in the middle of that, in the middle of what we was doing, I fluttered a line. And then you looked at me and I looked at you, and we knew you knew that I fluttered, and I knew that I fluttered. But you know, you gave it's a certain look you gave me. Keep it, Raheem, keep it going. And so I rolled on that, and that helped me make it through that scene. So I thank you, brother. I don't know if I ever told you that.
No, you never told me, but I remember. I remember because I ain't gonna lie, brother. That auditorium was his act. I knew that, you know, sometimes the weight of the moment, man.
Yeah.
You know, you got all these people out there. You ain't used to. If you're not used to actually being on stage like that, you know, it's your first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like really being on stage, and it's all you. It can be an overwhelming experience. Like for real. I mean, some people actually think that acting and performing is they just talented. They can get up there and do it.
No,
man, that thing take work, bro.
Yes, sir. And then Mr. Monday wasn't giving us no slack in rehearsal, man. Mr. Monday wasn't giving us no slack. And Kurt, you know we lost Mr. Monday, right?
No, I didn't.
We'll talk about it. Yeah.
No, I did.
I
talked to Peggy a while ago. She didn't mention it.
About 2 weeks ago.
Man.
About 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I talked to her in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man. Phenomenal director.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal director.
Absolutely. Captain Leonard.
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family. How are you?
Hey, doing well, sir. Doing well. Good to have you back, brother.
Kurt, what's going on?
Man, look here.
What's up, bro?
We're talking about the legendary man. We lost another good brother, man, Biz Markie.
Most
What?
definitely.
Yes, sir. What do you know about the Biz, man? Nobody beats the Biz.
He was always about having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
He was a true party rocker. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. That was about is just getting the party going. Never no beef. It was always seems like it was just a good time. Even with his music and being a DJ, he would hype up a party. If a party was slow or what happened, Biz would entertain the people. And that was his big thing, is just the people having a good time. That's back what what hip hop was about, just expression and enjoying one another, and hip hop, the culture. Not it wasn't aggressive or anything like that. It was just to get people together to show that you could have a good time.
Exactly. And Biz, man, he would what do you say, the center post or whatever it was, a fancy word, you know what I mean? Because Biz, man, he would bring the party, man. The party. When Biz walk in the door,
the party. It was a party.
It's about to start right now. It's about to start. But so we definitely lost a great man. But Leonard, what's going on in the political world, man? Anything happening right now?
Well, there's still that huge push as it relates to the voter laws. And one thing that can be very deceptive is the fact, just the names of them. The voter laws don't always mean it's benefiting the voting public. Voter laws are being changed to encumber people from voting. Especially you have people who are trying to finally defeat what folks like Jesse Jackson them have been fighting the entire time. It's gerrymandering and changing districts and changing rules for elections to make it harder for people to vote. We see there's some idiots out here still trying to claim that there's a recount that needs to be done, I believe, out in Arizona, which is completely foolish as well.
Wow.
But the Republicans cannot win when Democrats vote. All you have to do is go to the polls. They're not trying to get new voters at all. They're just trying to restrict those people who are voting. And it's happening because there's a huge influx of Black and brown people insisting on justice. Insisting that things must change. So you're able to outvote them if you go vote. Their complete strategy is to limit all advances that make it easier to vote. No drop-off ballots. We see how well that worked here in Georgia. Wherever it worked, usually in minority communities, these are the things that they are opposing. So when you hear this fight about voter laws and things like that, that's what it's about from the GOP side, especially places you see them like in Arizona and Texas. Sometimes fools don't have no shame.
Come on. Say it. Ain't no one truth.
It's the fools ain't got no shame. So they're not trying to hide what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep Americans from voting. And that is voter suppression. And that is what African Americans have been fighting for quite some time. And we need everybody to step up and remove these people from power with this next election. That's why we have so many problems.
Exactly. Kurt, what do you say to that, brother?
Well, L dead on point. He dead on point. And you know what? What really amazes me is that the masses as a whole, there's something that escapes them. What we found out is that a larger percentage, Biden won an election not only because, and I gotta say it, Biden won an election not only because we showed up and voted, the Black and brown and minority, but a large percentage of their voting bloc voted the other way. So a large percentage of their voting bloc voted against their own candidate because they knew, now we got to get this guy out of here. Although a large percentage of his voting bloc, here's the thing that get me, is, they still want to call they still want to say this is it's the party of Trump. Okay. I'm trying to understand how this culture is allowing for somebody to bully them around, and their voting block is only about 20% of their total block. It's not even like he got a 50% voting block on the Republican side. He don't. His overall voting, push, he only controls about a third of the Republican Party. The other 2/3 are way away from him, but he bullies his way in. But Leonard was dead right, man. Like, what they're finding out is, okay, well, if y'all not gonna vote for us, because there was black and brown folk ignorantly, and I hate to say it like that, but ignorantly voted for that man when he won back in 2016, solely because they were Republicans. They conservative. There's black conservatives and brown conservatives. They were conservative, and he was the conservative choice. What they found out was, no, this is not our choice. Whatever this party is, this is not the party that I believed in. So they jumped ship. So now it's, well, we just need to restrict all of the black and brown vote, because you cannot win an election without having the majority of the black and brown vote. You can't do it. You just can't do it. I mean, and until they openly admit that you cannot win an election, and I mean openly, I don't mean just talk about it and then push to something else. I'm saying openly admit that you cannot win an election without the black and brown vote, or you cannot win an election if you don't disenfranchise the black.
That's one thing about it, Kurt, and I'm not sure if you all can still hear me or not, but disenfranchisement is the political strategy for the GOP, because they do not have actual any type of new plans or programs that actually help voters or typical American people or the masses for that. So they don't have an enlightening story to tell, or they don't have very many facts. It's all lying, and it all makes people look foolish. And it's nothing worse than one fool following another one. They all look the same. And if you listen to them and you listen to their rhetoric, it sounds irrational. It seems as if, what do we say when we're offended? You're playing my intelligence, or you're playing on my intelligence. That's how you should feel a lot of times when you listen to the GOP and their news platforms and things of that nature. It is almost as if they were trying to take advantage of people who had mental disabilities, who seriously did not have the regular ability to make informed decisions. And it's real sad that so many have fallen for that. I mean, who wants to be known as a fool? Who wants to look like a fool or follow a fool for that matter? That's what makes us different than animals. But even animals don't put their most ignorant and weakest up front. This is what it bothers me the most, is that you sitting there, you listening, you even hear people repeating foolishness. You know, that alone, whether it's political or anywhere else, to repeat something ignorant is sad, and you should be shamed about it. But too many people are not shamed about it, and they went out there and they supporting Trump, and they still voting Republican, and they still trying to convince you that this is the way to go, when it is clearly not. So hopefully people not falling for ignorant things. We know there are still some people still waving flags of wars that they have lost, still champion ideas that should be dead with their ancestors and their grandparents. And we definitely have to silence these individuals who are in the minority, because that's where they are, and that's why they can't win elections, because they are in the minority. And when it comes to voting, and if you simply turn out and vote, you will actually win these elections and remove them from power. But you got to get rid of Confederate sympathizers, individuals that sympathize with this attempted coup on the United States government. This stuff needs to be taken serious. We assassinate other nations' leaders for these types of things.
Exactly. Kurt, we got kicked off there for a second, brother. You was finishing your thought. I'll finish your thought.
No, I was just saying that I was saying Leonard's absolutely right, without a doubt. I said, and what's shameful is how sometimes we forget, because I remember when Obama first got out of office, him and Eric Holder had started, I can't remember the name of the organization, but the organization was fighting against gerrymandering.
Mm-hmm.
They was putting up a legal argument to the courts that was basically throwing the information out there like, look, we can't keep allowing for them to gerrymander districts. It's against the law. And they won a lot of cases. And I remember them trying to get Eric Holder. I don't know if y'all remember this, but they was trying to get Eric Holder disbarred, like Rudy Giuliani is now. You know what I'm saying? But like Leonard Wright, like we're finding out, the public, because of folks wanting to be in the know, we're finding out that, and I've been saying this for years, that no, we're not the minority. We're actually the majority, and have been for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And have been for a while. But, you know, it goes back to what we talk about all the time about controlling the narrative. You know, there's been a push. They've been controlling the narrative for a long time. So this is the result of, if you got somebody at the helm controlling the narrative, and they are only working in their own interest. They're not working in the interest of the population at hand.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Captain Leonard, talk to me, brother. We're gonna jump on this topic we got this morning.
It would behoove everybody to really pay attention and to. I know you like to have fun and shake your behind and do all that, but this business only takes a few minutes of your time every few years or so.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it a priority, like eating, like paying taxes, like paying your car note and your house and your mortgage, man. That's how serious you have to take voting. And the more people voting, the more diverse the leadership. It makes no sense. You got folks drawing little lines so they can stay in power in areas. Mm-hmm. This is how bad it is. They have no new enlightenment, no new programs, nothing new for the people to resolve anything. It's all about them. They're very selfish, and they only want to help people look like them. Mm-hmm. So we have to fight against that, and we have to remove that entire generation from power. These people who sympathize with anything related to white superiority or the Confederacy or the notion that the South gonna rise again, these people should have been barred from power back during Reconstruction. Mm-hmm. But you have allowed them to institute all these things at various levels, local and state levels. Pay attention to that. You hear the federal news, but you have to understand that what the U.S. Supreme Court does is comes in and it arbitrates on these issues when there are problems in states. Okay? So if you have the Supreme Court supporting corrupt practices, then one, that emboldens states' courts who are more interested in states' rights, which was code for white folks in power destroying urban issues. Mm-hmm. All their things and their agendas supersede any social issues or anything that can impact the masses positively. Mm-hmm. They're against freedom, and they're about blocking progress for anyone trying to lift themselves up, whether it be from poverty, lift themselves up in education. Anybody, if you get in the W-2, you ain't got no business voting Republican, because that is oppressive in itself. For the very fact that Republicans operate on the owner side of politics. The more you have, the more important, the more value you have. That's their agenda. And voting does not help them. Because we used to be able to do what? Come up with all types of stupid stuff, tests, threats, terrorization, and everything to keep you from voting. Now they're more interested in creating laws that give Secretary of States a ridiculous amount of power over election boards and things like that, and making it much easier to destroy elections or force different outcomes. What Kurt was mentioning, the Obama administration, along with his Attorney General, Eric Holder, were definitely had voter security as a priority. You have to have that as a priority because it is what supports democracy. So whenever you're against voting or not participating, you're not helping democracy. What democracy does is ensure that all Americans have the ability to choose who governs them. And the way we have them is we set up competitions and things like that. And it's democratic. People have a voting process. But this process is still not the same across the United States. States still have an unusual amount of power when it comes to elections. Why? To corrupt the outcomes. Look at what happened in Georgia. We have a disgusting individual as governor. Not only is he disgusting as a governor, he was worse as Secretary of State. For his actions that happened when he was Secretary of State should have even barred him from running from office as governor. So the laws that we have in place still allows the predator and the abuser to continue to do what they've been doing. And you can't expect them to become decent people because that's not the agenda. That's never the agenda for them. The agenda always is to suppress the population, to enact those selfish ideas and those things that disenfranchise others. And we can talk about how patriotic and all that these people are, but how patriotic are you when you supporting a coup against the United States of America? How patriotic are you? You about as patriotic as these individuals who are talking about the South should rise again and those Confederate sympathizers. Those people were against the Union. Those people are against Black people voting. Those people are against women voting. Those people are against the majority of people voting. And that's why they vote Republican.
Are we moving in the right direction, Leonard?
Yes, definitely moving in the right direction. Because first of all, most of them are getting older and dying. That's great. People are waking up and they have access to actual information and truth. You know, if truth is available and you don't want it, that makes you a fool because it's available. Everything that these people say is a blatant lie. They're not even trying to cover it up. They just blatantly lie as if this is some type of make-believe game. And you can still ride through areas in North Georgia where I was at, for instance, this past weekend and see Trump signs all over the place.
Wow.
So don't get it confused. There are some people that just enjoy their ignorance and they will support it financially. They will support it at the ballot box and everywhere else they can.
What do you think? What do you think? Let me go to Kirk with this. Kirk, what do you think the Republican Party has risen or fallen to?
You asking me, Raheem, or you still talking to Leonard?
No, you.
All right. What was your question again?
What do you think the Republican Party has either risen to or fallen to?
The Republican Party has fallen. Okay. Here's an easy way to put it. All them years that black and brown folk have been screaming foul, screaming foul, screaming foul, screaming foul, screaming foul, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of years we've been screaming foul. And we've been telling them, look, here's the playbook. Here's what they're doing to us. Here's what they're doing to the system. Here's what they're doing. All those years, there was always an excuse they could use. They could even use, oh, here they go playing the race card. But that don't even work no more. So what they have fallen to is they have fallen to the only tactics that they have used for generations to stay a one up, to always keep a leg up. Well, now that tactic, you can't use that tactic no more. You can't use it no more because now the people know. It's like Leonard said, the truth is there. It can't be denied. You can try your best to deny truth, but the simple fact is you can't. When it's right there in your face, you can't. So now the people are being forced to see the truth and do something about it. And the people are saying, I got to do something. What if this was happening to me? So the Republican Party has fallen back to its old tactics. If you pay attention, this ain't the first time with this voters registration thing. It ain't nothing but a different type of poll tax, bro. That's all it is. It ain't no magic, in what they doing. Ain't no validity in what. There's not even a legal basis for what they're doing. The last judge to rule against them, as far as the voting registration thing go, right? The last judge to rule against them was not a Democratic appointed judge. He was a Trump appointee. And he ruled against them saying, no, like I can't make this legal. I can't say what y'all doing is legal. There's no legal basis. It's not grounded in any kind of legal fact. You just showed up in my court with a bunch of speculation and hearsay, and you expect for me to rule in your favor just because you're white. No, the law don't work like that. The law, it ain't supposed to work like that. The law is supposed to work. Forget black, forget white. What is the proof? What is the truth? What is the proof? Do you have the proof to prove A, B, C, or D? And if you don't, then I'm gonna rule against you.
Exactly.
If you can prove it, you see what I'm saying? So, no, man, they just falling back to the tactics that they've been using since. You might as well say since 1783. I want to say it's the same playbook, man. It's the same playbook.
Gotcha.
And they saw this writing on the wall years ago, Raheem. They actually saw the writing on the wall. That's why they losing their minds the way they losing their minds about it, because this writing has always been on the wall, right? The agenda was, the writing is on the wall. We need to slow up the process. So that's always been the agenda. And the way that they slowed up the process is basically to always control the narrative. So by controlling that narrative, you can plant a seed of doubt. Well, no, they trying to look out for us. No, they ain't. You're the last person on their mind.
Exactly. Let me do this. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
It's your brother and servant, Brother Pete. I'm not sure about the topic. How we doing this morning, DKM Radio?
Hey, doing good. Hadn't got to the topic yet, but I'm asking a question. With everything that's going on right now in the political arena, what has the Republican Party either risen to or falling to? What do you say to that, Pete?
What has the
Republican Party? What has the Republican Party either risen to or fallen to?
Well, keeping in mind that both parties are, we use the term wings of the same bird. So don't dive too deep into any allegiance or faith in either one.
Mm-hmm.
They both have an agenda to maintain the power in the respective representatives present in their hands, and to keep the people in the position primarily and majority wise where they are now, and to overall really change nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get confused. The systematic function of America is rooted in a prejudice and a preference mentality since its origination, and it's determined to maintain that structure first and foremost. The Republican Party used to be a party about the republic and more so for business and things like that. And they still try to hold on to, semblances, vestiges of that. But the old white male influence, the predominant white male, Caucasian male influence in maintaining their power and their prestige and their positioning certainly has jumped up to the forefront. And they have a segment of the Republican Party presently who they come across as being lunatics.
Mm.
So that's a whole nother aspect of it. But the party presently being headed by Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and Gates.
Mm-hmm.
These are shady characters.
Mm-hmm.
They flip flop that wheel. So and are just determined to maintain a certain mentality, a certain structure. So, but at the same time, the Democrats would always talk a good game, fail to truly deliver with respect to our constituencies immediately. And, it's always a whole lot said, a whole lot done, a whole lot put up face value wise. But where's the real meat of the matter? Where does the rubber meet the road with them? So, I would just encourage people to pursue and invest in those that are going to represent your interests individually and certainly collectively. And if then you can't push them, urge them, position them, empower them to produce, then, it's all amounting to a bunch of noble efforts, but it's not going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Leonard?
Pete is exactly right. If you even just take away the whole Democrat, Republican label, all that, read it for yourself and see who's trying to help who out more. You're not going to be in love with either side, but you're going to prefer to spend time with one more so than the other. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but the majority of my efforts and things like that are usually swayed far towards the Democratic Party. I mean, if I was to read it with all my brains, it's always on the Democratic side. There's no logical or rational reason to be on the Republican side unless you want to be a bad guy. And all these people look fake, they act fake, they sound fake because they're fakes. They don't care nothing about what it is soldiers have died for. People are still hoping that will get better. It is the dream of being here in America, of people still migrating here. You see all these buildings and things going up all over this place. This is for more people from all over the world to come here. They're attracted here because of the ability to determine your fate. The ability to actually take $2 or $3 and one day have 303 million, which is not possible in other places. So they're coming here with that hope. These people would not come here if they could not be successful. So America is that place to become successful if you so desire. But it's just like any other place with a history. It's a history built on lies. It's a history built on war and all types of things. We always at war. We just seen the current administration start to pull out of Afghanistan and reduce troops and things like that there to try to change this bullying narrative. America is not this great place. There's several different Americas. The America in power and the America that's suffering. The America in power has gotten its reputation because it has a huge military. We are the best killers in the world. The best weapons in the world. If you really usually don't go along with what we want, we will usually attack you and destroy your infrastructure. That is usually, that's what it's about. It's still about power.
So basically what I'm hearing you say is America is a bully. Pretty
much. America is a big bully. We bully for other countries. We're for hire. And once we get on a particular agenda, we are usually successful at that agenda. But the rest of the world is saying, hold on a minute, America. You're being a bit hypocritical.
Yeah.
The Vietnam War and everything else, the leaders of the opposition, America, you're being very hypocritical. You're not treating the black man the way you should. You over here fighting for one thing for these people over here on our land and not securing that right for people on your land. So you should just go back home and sweep around your front door first. That's basically, what's going on. And those countries that trusted us, now looking at us with the side eye. Will we keep our alliances with people? Will we actually support humane treatment and human rights around the world? Because it's looking real suspect.
Look, kinda.
Right. It's kind of suspect.
Exactly. Got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Rico, calling from Madison, Alabama, man. Grand rising to everybody.
Rico, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Rico.
Yeah, good morning to you, man. I'm out here getting it in. Well, just getting back in. I got caught in the rain a little bit this morning, man.
There you go. But you got it in, though. But let me ask you this.
Yeah, I got to look it in.
Is America a bully?
Oh, yes. And it's a magician. It's an illusionist. Because, people have this perception of what America should be. The land of the free and home of the brave and opportunity. But we don't understand that it comes with stipulations. You got to play ball. You got to go along with the system. If you don't go, if you rebel against the system, then you might be outcast. You might be labeled with one of these adjectives that they like putting on people when you're unfavorable. But see, the thing is that, I think sometimes we like being comfortable in our illusion. We love seeing the illusion. I mean, just think about how many people transform themselves or transition into something that they aren't. They want to change who they are, but they can't change their parents. So, I mean, just so many people, they don't like the reality that we live in. But the reality is that if you look I'll say about every 20 or 30 years, the government seems to go in cycles. We invade certain countries for the same type of drugs, maybe in the 60s and 70s, we invaded Vietnam and got their heroin. And then all of a sudden, about 40 years later, we invaded Afghanistan and we used the same tactics. Propaganda, we use Nazi tactics. And so here it is, we're living under this premise that, America is for democracy. And that democracy is what it should be about. But the reality of it is that you have people that actually work on behalf of agendas. They work on behalf of certain people with special interests. And that's who dominates what we actually are voting on. So it gets to a point where we got to start asking ourselves, do we want to just continue participating in these two parties? Because you have the Republicans that always play hardball. They like to stonewall. Then you have the Democrats that always speak on behalf of socialism, but for some reason they seem to always want to compromise. Bipartisan. They love that word, bipartisan. And to me, it's starting to come off as an excuse to not go through with what you promised to do. See, I believe if Democrats stood their ground like Republicans did, then maybe they would get a lot more across the table that they wanted to get across, but they are so quick to compromise. Well, we don't want to stoop to their level. But I noticed over my lifetime, the Republicans will create laws to supersede laws. They'll use their executive orders to get what they want across. But then you come back to the Democrat side, and they still want to do everything by the book. So it's like, I don't know if the Democratic Party really is trying to accomplish all of the goals that they want to accomplish. They just are trying to get the votes that the Republican Party can't get.
Brother Pete, talk to me, brother.
Yeah, a lot has been said. It's the subject matter has been articulated. When you are in a very successful position, find yourself happen to have worked to put yourself in. I think your view and vision of America can be different. It can be slightly or drastically different. When you're on the lower economic scale of America, I think your vision tends to be in a whole nother sight. You see things in a whole nother way. So the country as a whole, with this system of laws and things, when you look and apply it to other societies and governments around the world, it's going to shine toward the top real quick. I'm like real fast. Okay. But now the inequities that go on are inequities nonetheless. So, we want to clarify that we do have a society where you can seek relief and get relief for injustice and wrongs and, shortcomings and things. But at the same time, the overall function of it, when you say it doesn't seem to fulfill its mission to all, but, we want to understand the fiber of this country. This is not a society where we take care of you. We really encourage you to take care of yourself and do all you can. And then if there are some shortcomings, they have some outlets to assist you. But America is really a free-for-all. This is a place where you ought to come and develop yourself, perfect yourself, position yourself to take care of yourself, and partake in commerce where you increase your standing financially, educationally, or legacy-wise, and depend not on outside of yourself so much, but what you can do and, those connected to you can do and make your situation, make your life successful.
Yeah.
So we want to understand that's how America is set up. And, if you really in that arena, then I think you will see this country differently. But the political arena as a whole, it's involved.
Yeah.
A lot of trickery, a lot of different things going on at all times. And this overwhelming, ghost, skeletal ghost of supremacy or privacy, it still lingers in the background very prevalently. So, this is just the reality of America. But again, for us ethnically melanated folk, what's within your best interest? Who is going to do your bidding? Who can you nudge and nod and support and push, encourage, empower to do things that are beneficial for you collectively? I think should be more so our concern. Whether it's D or R, it doesn't matter. Who's going to do your bidding? That's why I think we should be focused more collectively and understanding how the society functions and empowering ourselves individually and collectively to fully partake in the mission, the statement, the purpose, and the ability of the existence of the society known as US.A.
Exactly. I'm going to read what our public citizen wrote here. The most important question we should ask is, why has the massive amount of wealth we workers create always seem to end up in the hands of a very few? Kurt? Yeah, did you hear what I just read?
Yeah. I heard you.
Okay, what's on your heart?
The answer to that is, it goes back to slavery and the ending of slavery is called intergenerational wealth. See, intergenerational wealth was amassed by the Anglo-Saxon, the American Anglo-Saxon, and there was no intergenerational wealth allowed in the African American community. So what you're seeing is over generations of intergenerational wealth being pushed on one side of the spectrum. On the other side of the spectrum, it was held down. Well, why was that? Because no company can operate without workers. None. And the only man I seen that actually, represented real talk, the foundation and establishment of America, I've only seen two in my lifetime. One was Hershey. One was Mr. Hershey. The other one, I cannot remember his name to save my life, but I can tell you what he owns. He owns the patent for fleece. You know, the fleece material that you wear during the wintertime? He owns the patent for that. I won't go into why I believe. All I can say is, if anybody get a chance, watch the Candies That Made America. It's a History Channel joint that talks about what Hershey did, and I seen a History Channel documentary about this guy that owns the patent on the fleece. America, man, it is an experiment, true indeed, but it is not an experiment that did not have flaws. You know, I can say what I want to say, but there's certain truths about this place that I'm going to pay homage to the idea that the fact that we can sit on this radio station and talk about our government and its shortcomings is greater than any other nation that I've ever been. Even in Britain, you can't go but so far talking about the Queen. Before MI6 coming in, kicking your door and taking you to some secret holding spot where they torturing you almost to death. In Russia, right now, can I just be honest?
Go ahead.
If we was in Russia, Raheem, it would have been all over the radio station. Somebody done broke in your spot and blew your brains out right there while you on the radio. While you're on the radio. And all of us, I'm in my car. A car would have probably done hit me and kill me here. Everybody else in their house or wherever they at, somebody done snuck up on them and kill them now. So when I think about this country, you know, it has some shortcomings. Man, listen, I was one of those soldiers where a Middle Eastern soldier looked at me and asked me, told me, man, why you here? Because we ain't got no beef with y'all. Looked me in my face and told me the only reason America is still in existence, the only reason we haven't caused extreme mayhem is because of the black, brown, and our own relatives who are in America. That's the only reason we ain't really blew it up, is because we got family there, and y'all, we extensions of y'all. So, yeah, we got some things that we got to work on. We got some D's that's just, you know, moving to the buck. I'll end with this because I know you got to move on. You know what I think? I think when the government learns to be a mirrored image of the people at the bottom, that's the only way we'll actually ever see a true America as to we the people in order to form a more perfect union. Because right now it's kind of like there's things that I don't agree with that shouldn't be happening. Like I don't understand why, and I think we done had this conversation before. and Leonard kind of explained it to me, but I still don't understand why. I don't understand why judges get lifetime appointments. Nobody in America gets a lifetime appointment to a job. Nobody. I don't understand why if a country is hurting, I don't understand why, or if the country's governing body is not governing according to the people, I don't understand why they should be allowed the option to vote on their own pay raises. None of us can do that. None of us have the option to, when it's time for us to get a raise, we can go in the boardroom and vote and say, okay, yeah, I deserve $1 raise. No, we don't get that option. There's several things that I think because of intergenerational wealth and trying to keep that ideology moving forward, we allow things to happen legally that really should be taken off the books. That's just my opinion.
Leonard,
what's up?
What's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Well, I'm just listening to every, different perspectives are different perspectives. That's the thing that makes it, it's not so much as that one person runs everything or one party runs everything. It's that everybody has a seat and their interest has a seat at the table and their interest is considered. I believe in things moving. Is windmills don't work without wind blowing.
Come on.
You understand what I'm saying? So one, we have to understand there's a balancing act that must go on. There's a balancing act that must be met in order for America to get anything done or do what it needs to do. There's a delicate balance between politics and ideologies and all these different types of things. You can get one-sided and think you're right, but don't address the other 99% of the problem. So I don't particularly pick.
Mutual line, Kurt.
I'm not a diehard fan of either side. However, I support the agenda of the Democratic Party. Now, you can have some wild explanation about whatever else you want, but the truth of the matter is if all you got is that, you ain't got no power. So you need power. Power is the capacity to do work. That's what power is. If you don't have any of it, you probably ain't gonna get nothing done. I don't get into the income thing because I don't believe income should be equal. I don't do all that. There's going to always be people with less and people with more. If the people sitting around just desiring what the other people have but don't want to do what they did to get it, that's based on a very strange assumption, I'm assuming. Why everybody should have the same. No, that's not true. Not even in the best of worlds would that be true. You get to the point where you have the freedom to starve. That's what you have. There were people that were wealthy that came right after slavery because they wanted to be wealthy.
And you said something that was very interesting. The windmill won't blow if won't turn.
The windmill don't work without wind.
Exactly. And I'm gonna step right there with you. And I'm gonna say you take the steam out the boat and the boat won't float.
I mean, that's just the way it is. And some people don't want to accept it because you sit around in your own head and think about how you think it should be. And that's not the best thing to do.
Exactly. Now we're going to go into our topic for the day. And Brother Pete, you still with us? Brother Pete, you there?
Yes, sir. I had to get my notepad out when Professor Jones speak. I was trying to take notes. I wouldn't fail class.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna let Pete have it later.
But this is a question, and I want you all to answer from where you are, from a man's standpoint, and all the things that's going on today. And we're gonna be as transparent as we can. We're gonna pull back a couple of layers. But Pete, I'm gonna ask you this question: who understands you as a man, as a black man, as Brother Pete, the servant? Who understands you?
I don't know. That's a good question because I can't articulate outside of myself any flesh and blood being that I can say fully understands me. I may know one or two, come to think about it, but I would say the creator that created me fully understands, knows me more than I know myself.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of the flesh and blood being that whose womb I came into this existence through, and maybe one other person that's been by my side through the good, bad, thick, and thin of it all since my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's many people I can point to that
Yeah.
I can say understand me.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good, Leonard. Pulling all the layers back, and you have to deal with the reality of the question. Leonard, who understands you?
I think most reasonable people understand me. Most rational people do. I mean, it's not like I speak in parables and things very much. You know, pretty much I try to communicate with people on that level. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, understanding is what you make it. Do you have the ability to understand? Because if you don't, ain't no sense us having a conversation. You know, so you know, this whole thing, you know, I'm not big on that. Well, you got to have somebody to understand you and this. Well, no, you want people to side with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I can understand you and not be on your side.
Mm-hmm.
That's two different things. And I think most people just want folk on their side.
So basically, you can understand them, but you ain't gonna be on their side because they're totally wrong. Basically,
That's probably why I ain't on your side, because I understand. You know, it's like some people when they talking to you, well, you don't understand. How the hell you know what I understand?
Mm-hmm.
How do you know? Matter of fact, ask me the questions about what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm great at is paying attention.
Yeah.
Listening to every word that come out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, well, you don't understand. No, you have a problem communicating the ideas in your head. That's the problem that you have.
Maybe you was clumsy in your description of what you was trying to say.
Exactly. So try it again.
Yeah.
So Lynn Swan, do you understand? Or the problem that you overstand? What is it, brother?
Right. Sometimes I don't know what. I don't
it
know
ain't
what
that you're under, brother. Tell them you only comprehend.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, you're trying to pull a fast one on me and you, maybe, but you know, I doubt if I don't understand what you're talking about.
Exactly. Kurt, talk to me, man. Who understands you, Kurt? Pulling back all the layers, man. Who understands you?
Well, you know, y'all make me feel blessed because outside of God, man, my best friend fully understands me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, my best friend, he can finish my statements. You know what I mean? Like, I could be thinking something. Like, we could be somewhere and I could be thinking something and not saying nothing to nobody. He'd come over and tap me. Yo, yeah, it's time for us to get up out of here. Like, you know, from the Rudy to the Tootie, man, like my best friend, which is my cousin, which, you know, it's deep, man. Like we was just sitting around this weekend and some folks came around that really didn't know us. And immediately somebody said, man, hey, my dude. I was like, yo, what's up? He was like, yo, y'all tight, man. I said, well, why you say that? He said, yo, you can just tell it, man. Like, yo, I'm sitting back and I'm watching and like, y'all finishing each other's statements and you know what I mean? And I'm blessed because it was 5 of us. So it wasn't like, you know how normally you just have that one best friend and that's it. It's just y'all two. But it was 5 of us that like we could finish each other's statements. You didn't see one if you didn't see the other. You never saw one of us individually. So I you know, I feel blessed that I had that opportunity, that I have those opportunities to where, my God, please help me, Jesus. Please help. Please, my God, help. Get that. Please, my God, help. I was blessed to have the opportunity to where I have just that kind of, I've had that kind of relationship. Some of which, real talk, I saved my life. You know what I mean? Like, one of my best friends out of the 5 pushed me out the way of a bullet. You know what I mean? Man. But other than Antonio Jones, the only person that truly understands me is God.
There you go. That's
Everybody else tends to make an assumption of their understanding of me, and a lot of times it's an assumption that's taken for granted. Their understanding leads them to the point that, oh, I can take Kurt for granted. Kurt ain't going, or Kurt ain't gonna be mad at me, or this, that, and the third. Well, in reality, you know what I mean. Like, I see you abusing me. Just because I don't say nothing, that don't mean I don't see it.
Yeah.
That's just where I'm at with that, man.
Good deal. Rico, you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. Question, Rico. Our topic today is this. I need to hear your whole heart on this, man. Pulling back all the layers on this particular question, dealing with Rico, the man, the black man, the person that you are. Who understands you, Rico?
Whoever I give the most quality time to, and give open up my personal space to.
Mm-hmm.
We all got boundaries and walls that we put up. Some lines we won't let people cross. We only gonna let people get so close to us. Mm-hmm. But those that we do open up to and reveal our most inner thoughts, or tell our deepest secrets, our darkest secrets, some of our fears, whoever you can confide in, that's probably the people that understand you the most, because number one, they're gonna continue to consistently be that shoulder you lean on. They're probably gonna continue to be that person that you come and talk to and open up to when you don't talk to nobody else. So you might work somewhere and you don't deal with nobody, but it's just one person that you deal with. Everybody look at you like you're strange. Mm-hmm. But this one person understands you because he knows that you worked at a place before where you got along with the guys and then he got burned. Mm-hmm. Maybe he learned the hard way that those guys will sabotage you. They'll backstab you for a job. They'll talk you out of your overtime. They'll you go back and try to get with your wife. They'll tell your wife about all the little slick stuff you're doing because you don't open up and told too much of your business. So now you at a new job. You don't deal with people like this. Business is business and pleasure is pleasure. And the only pleasure I got is my personal business. I keep y'all out of that. Mm-hmm. So it's be hard for those people to understand you. Man, what's wrong with him? He's strange. Why he don't want to go to the strip club with us? He must be gay. Nah, he just don't want to let his guard down so y'all can start seeing kinks in his armor. Mm-hmm. So y'all can start penetrating his private life. So really and truly, the people that can understand you the most are the ones that you give the most access to. Other than that, you can give people all the perception and the image you want. The first impression, like Curtis said, people can assume a lot, and you can give them a lot to assume, depending on what you want to let them see, how much you want to open up to them. I mean, I'm pretty much that way. Every now and then I might slip up and show the real me, but man, most people only see they got an assumption of me. Mm-hmm. Because I refuse to, just open up and be vulnerable. See, sometimes you make yourself vulnerable for people to have to deeply understand you. Mm-hmm. And for you to be vulnerable, you have to be open and honest. And most people don't want to be open and honest and just put everything out on the table like that. So it's going to be hard for a person to truly understand you if they don't really know you.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Tucson, good morning.
Donald Tucson from Opala, Mississippi. How you doing, sir? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing all right.
Hey,
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, yeah, I like it like that.
There you go.
You keep that up, they'll never figure out where I'm really from.
There you go. Mississippi. But listen, Tucson, we asking a question this morning, brother, and pulling back all the layers. We're pulling back all the layers on Tucson. Who understands you?
Cool. Nobody. Unfortunate, man, and this might be a bad thing for me, in and out. I don't know.
Hey, Tucson, are you talking directly? Are you talking directly to the phone? Is it just a little bit?
No, I can't afford to do that. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Let me do this. How about now?
Yeah, that's a little better. Yeah.
I don't really care for people that really understand. Mm-hmm. No. I'm pulling all the layers off. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like the crowd of one. Mm-hmm. there's a few people that I'll let, I think Rico said it, I'll let go so far. And then I'll shut that down, because they when people get so far, then they try to go a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Try to do a little bit more. They try to find out a little bit more. They search you out to see where they can have an influence on your life. So I shut that down too.
Mm-hmm.
No,
wow.
No. So at the end result, they say, you know what? I don't even understand you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's good. Going on. Okay, that's crazy. Yeah. They said that, and Rico said something else. They said they got kind of strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Say go. He said go on. Say go on. Hit on with your bad self. Go on. Hit on.
Yeah. My kids do.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my family do. They say, you mean to tell me he showed up for the gathering? Oh, he ain't gonna be here long.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's what I do, because I like it like that.
There you go.
I mean, I really.
Look at Leonard over there laughing at you on Tucson. I gotta let you know, Leonard over there. Everybody mute your line. We got some background noise coming from somebody's line. Mute your line, everybody. Go ahead, Tucson.
No, but you see, if you take a look at it, I mean, look at our society today. Before you know it, you be on Facebook and you wonder why.
Mm-hmm.
Or social media. They'll post your conversation.
The whole
everybody
conversation.
want to be popular about something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I just, man, going on. Somebody said, man, when you're doing this, when you're doing that, I might be doing it. I might be that.
Mm-hmm.
You take your guess, take your best shot, and see how it work out for you. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Absolutely, absolutely. Leonard, what is and just for the clarity of the people that's listening right now, what is understanding?
Understanding is a lot to different people. But to understand something, it's not so much as things have to be right and all that. It's this that you sent me a message. Do I understand? Can I clearly surmise from your message your intent? That's all understanding is. Now, sometimes you have people be talking to you. You ever have somebody, they do all the talking and then tell you what you don't understand. Well, I got all the information from you. Maybe that's why I don't understand it. I may understand the subject. Yeah. I mean, I've had people talk to you. You don't understand me. Okay, I'm gonna let you try it again. How many times you gonna try? Because I have a huge command of the English language. And if I wanted to, I would read your mind. So you once again try to explain to me what it is that you're talking about. Because I'm intelligent enough to understand a lot of things. But there's a problem if I don't never understand you. Or if you're always saying no one understands you. That means you have a problem communicating what is in your head, not mine. It sounds like you're looking for an ally. That's what it sounds like. You want somebody on your side. And the only way I can communicate, I can, from your point of view, understand is if I'm on your side. If I agree with you, that's the only way then you think I understand you, just because I agree. But if I don't agree, I obviously don't understand you. That's not true. You don't understand you.
Exactly. And Public Citizen said this to you, Leonard. He said 100% have seen what Leonard is talking about. You have to define things to these kinds of people.
Right. Have you ever spoke to a Republican really about what they say? And you could have all these statements and facts, but for some reason they don't even line up with the main idea. Or they be like, what? Okay. Then you know who you're dealing with. That's why you stop talking to it. Casting pearls before swine are useless. It's useless.
Yeah.
Because swine will never understand the value of the information or the wisdom of the information that you're giving to them.
Come on.
You know, they're not even interested in that. They just want you to believe what they want you to believe. And I try not to be biased and things like that, going along with the crowd, or whether you call it in the big circles, group think, and all those types of things, where you can usually convince people to believe the way you want to believe if you're effective enough. You know, say certain things like, you know, one, I'm voting for the Republican Party because of ABC, and that has nothing to do with what they have on paper. The facts of the matter, actually. I would rather you say you just supporting them because they hate everybody else. That makes more sense to me.
They want you to ride on their lie.
Right, exactly. Like with people when it comes to religion. I'm fine with you hating Jesus. I mean, but communicate that if that's what it is. Don't come up with all these other reasons. Tell me exactly why you hate Jesus. That's rational to me. I can accept that. I can understand that because that's yours. But you can't explain to me why I ought to hate it. I mean, that's not how it works. Not agreeing with you doesn't mean I don't understand. It's the exact opposite. I understand enough not to agree with what you're talking about.
Let me go to Curtis. Curtis, what is understanding? That's good, Leonard.
I'm trying to find the words. Understanding, I guess, if I was to word it, it's the ability to think with a fair, just open mind. You know, some people are not religious. Some people are atheists because they have just never been raised in an environment where religion was important. Others are atheists because they have had some traumatic experience in their life where they felt like the church and or God was not there for them. Now, we might not want to believe that, you know, for real, we might not want to believe that. It's funny how sometimes when we as Christians have to deal with an atheist, we deal with the fact that they're atheists. We never ask them why. Why are you an atheist? When did you lose your belief in religion? And even if we do ask why, a lot of times we'll ask the question, but then close our mind. I remember one time we was doing a show and it was for inmates. And at the end of the show, the director asked us to pray with these inmates. And the inmate I got was a Caucasian American. He was an atheist. You know, and I asked him why. I said, man, you know, why'd you even show up for this thing? And he said, look, to be honest with you, I just wanted to get off the tier. He said, but man, this show, man, it kind of, man, it did something to me. I need some prayer. And I said, brother, you're an atheist, because I could see it he had it on his knuckles. You know, inmates, they got codes. And I said, all right. So we started talking before we, you know, had prayer. And then we had prayer, and then afterwards we continued to talk. And when I heard this brother's story, I couldn't help but, okay, well, it's going to take you some time, brother. It's going to take you some time. Given what happened to you, it's going to take you some time. Now, I'm not going to go into his story, but I can say this. As a human being, hearing this story, I probably would have been an atheist too.
Wow.
You get what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, I think Leonard kind of just set it in the parking lot.
Sometimes people think that God has turned his back on his back on I'm gonna say it like this: his or her back on them. Sometimes a person think that. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? 678 area code.
Good morning, everyone. It's VP from the mid-warm state of Connecticut.
VP, what's going on, man? How you doing this morning?
Pretty good. Sorry, I'm a little behind.
Hey, I sent you the link, brother.
I had my wife said I had to take care of something first.
Oh, okay, got you. Oh, you better do what she tell you. But hey, we asked you the question, brother. Who pulling back all the layers and dealing with it from the realistic part? VP, who understands you?
Personally, me, I would say God understands me because He knows I'm a character, and then my best friend probably understands me the most because that's who I'm starting to get that way with my wife, but with him more of a intimate conversation where it don't sound homoerotic, where we actually share in emotions. So when it comes to those type of understanding, on a personal or business aspect, I guess you try to use people who understand me know that I come from work. So if you bring a different logic of, like, I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none. So if you come to me trying to speak technical, then I'll give you the first initial deer in the headlight look, and then proceed to look at you in a way and understanding that you're not trying to understand me, especially if we're working around each other. Then I can go do it. Or if you're talking about come break a computer system down, then you need to find somebody else. So I think understanding, you want people to understand you so you can get your objectives and your motives, but you also want to have people understand you so you don't go on a killing spree, and because you feel like you're not appreciated in life, or nobody wants to get to know you, or you're self-isolated.
That's good. That's good. Rico, back to our other question, Rico, and I need you to explain to me, what is understanding, Rico? What is understanding?
You know what? Curtis knocked it out the park, man. I was over here stomping my feet. I was like, man, he said my word, man. No, why?
Yes, sir.
You did it, Curtis. Why? To relate to somebody, to get a reason of why they may be the way they are. And I'm gonna sort of go back to the first question. You only let people in that you want to let in. But sometimes those people have to make a sincere effort to want to try to get to know you. And I'm gonna give you the prime example. I remember when I changed schools when I was young. I went from a 99% black school to an 85% white school. Drastic change, man. Drastic change. And when I got to that white school, the majority of white school, they were slightly ahead curriculum-wise from where I had left off. So I was behind. And they were moving on past me. They didn't have time to wait on me. So it got to a point where I was just putting my head down. And at the same time, I started getting a label put on me. I even had one of the teachers suggest that I get put in special ed. I was like, wait a minute now. I just came from making all A's and being, the top man with spelling bees and vocabulary words. And no, I know better than this. So I got to try a little bit harder. But see, it was only one of those teachers that really came to me and asked me what was going on. I put my head down. She wasn't saying nothing at first. She was just holding it against me. I was like one of the little dumb black ones. You know what I'm saying? But then she finally seen that I just put my head down. I just quit talking to everybody. I just quit participating. And she asked me what was going on, and I told her I was lost. She said, well, where did you last stop off at? What was the last thing that you remember doing that you were good at? So I went back to the last thing that I was doing where I left off at, and that showed her how much she needed to adjust. I needed to adjust to catch up to where they were. So that made her understand why I was putting my head down, why I was behind and making bad grades, why I wouldn't make it an attempt. She made an effort. She reached out to me. So sometimes those are the people that will understand you, the ones that have reached out to you. Now it's up to you to open up that door and let them in. You see, just because they reach out, you might deflect it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we miss out on our wives, our significant others, or the friends that we should have because we reject them. And so they'll never get a chance to understand us. They want to. Maybe somewhere they had some type of interest to say, why are they like that? You know, he seems like you're a good dude. Let me go over here and talk to him. Let me introduce myself. You know, you see those people that's always sitting to themselves or whatever, y'all co-workers, but they always sitting at lunch by themselves. Man, let me go over here and make them feel welcome.
Exactly.
So, you know, it takes a sincere person that can be understanding. But the main reason, or the biggest thing about understanding, like I said, is to try to relate. You know, like Leonard said, you ain't got to agree, you know, but I don't understand what makes a person want to be transgender. You know, my logic on that may not be their logic, but at the same time, I know emotionally they are going through some things, so I can't be rude. I can't understand how they feel. You know, I could sort of put two and two together and say, well, you know, I know what it feels like to be bullied. You know, you can't help who your parents are. You can't help what side of town you come from. You can't help that if your parents are neglecting you and you only got one pair of shoes to wear for a whole year. You can't help that. And when people pick with you on that, things that you can't help, you can't do nothing about, your skin color, your height, then that could be, you know, that could be traumatic. So you have to sort of understand people and try to relate to what they're going through. Like I said, I can never understand how they could want to just, what makes them feel like they want to change all the way over. You know, I might not agree with it, but at the same time, you know, if I take the time to listen to one of them, you know, I can say, well, okay, I do sort of see where they're coming from. I see the reasoning. You know, when you ask the question why, you know, that's because you don't understand. Why is this happening? Why did racism exist? Why did they have slaves? Why and how? Then you get an understanding of why and how. How did America come from being so young and start from the bottom and become the most powerful country on the planet? How? Why? Then you get an understanding of why. So it's about being interested. And understanding the process of what's going on.
That's good. That's good. Pete, let me ask you this question, man. Pete, you there? Pete,
yes, sir.
Pete, can a stranger, a person that don't know you, be in your company for X amount of little time and understand you more than a person that's almost been in your life, your whole life? And how is that possible?
Well, I think what's been stated has covered it. If you have a willingness within yourself to consider, if you have compassion, if the seeds and the rudiments of love are there, then yes, I think you can. It's simply listening, considering, being able to relate, allowing yourself to put yourself in a position in consideration. You know, put on those shoes for a moment, put on that jacket for a moment, and try to relate to it as much as possible, to articulate that as fully as possible. Yes, I think I think they could come away with great comprehension of, you know, what the conversation is, what your position is, even what your experience could be. When you read a book, you go on a journey. You might not have gone through what they're talking about in the book, but as you read the book and contemplate, you can relate more and more and more and gain greater insight into. That's the study of history. You know, you read about these different experiences, these different mindsets, these motivations and perspectives, and you ponder them, and it gives you a greater comprehension. So yes, it's possible, but at the root of all of it, in my opinion, sincerely, is a touch of love and a whole lot of mingled compassion. Because if I don't want to consider, there's no hope. If I don't want to relate, you can forget it. And if I care not, then it's not even possible.
That's good. That's good. Toussaint, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
I was just trying to define, if I can do the best I can, just trying to define understanding. I would kind of just about say it's the ability to relay or communicate and or discern a message.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you ever heard somebody talk and you say, "What are you talking about?"
Mm-hmm.
It's a twofold thing. The one that's trying to give the message has to understand what they're talking about, and the one that is trying to get it has to kind of cipher through. Because you got different forms of communication. Some people can't talk at all. How do you get an understanding from a person that's mute?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get an understanding from a person to a person that is deaf? Deaf.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know where you are, or where you coming from, and where they are in their mindset. Do they have limitations in communication?
Mm-hmm.
Because how are you going to communicate with a person that's an overthinker,
Mm-hmm.
or that may have, it's a possibility that they rode on the short, because you might put a genius in special aid if you really don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Like the incident that Rico talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I got a son, and he never made C's.
Mm-hmm.
He always made his A's all through school. And one day, I think he didn't pass the test, or he made a C or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher was like, "Hold up, what's going on?" Well, he didn't understand the instructions
Mm-hmm.
that was given. So once he understood the instructions, he was able to go back. The teacher really say, "Look, we don't have to give you this test again, because we know that something is going on.
Yeah.
Because that's not normal for you."
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
she had the discernment to say, okay, in this particular case, because you can't say the same thing to everybody and think that everybody's gonna get your message.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
So you hear what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You might have to repeat yourself in another way
Mm-hmm.
to get the same message to another person.
Exactly. That's
because
good.
everybody don't think alike.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what was on my mind.
Okay, Leonard, do you think a lot of people are really interested in explaining themselves to a person so they would understand? Are they really even interested?
Well, it just depends on their motives. Some people are intentionally misleading others.
Mm.
And then you got the people that just lie. So it's intent. Like I say, you have some people that will claim that they be talking and they can claim you don't understand or whatever, but they never change how they communicate. One of the best things about teachers is teachers can explain concepts in various different ways. They may see children who understand things one way, but not the other way. So they tune their teaching in to try to meet all those students. Those are great teachers that are able to say, okay, if you're not understanding something, raise your hand. And then to be able to go and explain it to that child another way, that maybe some other children may understand it that way too. Everybody don't learn the same. Or you have some people that don't want to understand what you're talking about. They just don't want to. They're not interested. You have some people that talk just to hear they self-talk.
Yep.
All day long. They just want to hear they self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care if you understand it or if you're getting any clarity of what they're saying. As long as you pretty much go, huh? Yeah. Okay. Right.
Now,
All right.
have you ever been in someone's company where y'all could be talking for 20 minutes and you sit there and you already said 2 sentences?
Say that again. You broke up a little bit right here.
Have you ever been talking 20 minutes? Y'all been talking for 20 minutes. Conversation been going on for 20 minutes, and you realize, man, I haven't even said 2 sentences. Cause they talk just that much.
Well, listening. It's good to listen.
I did a broadcast one time, an hour broadcast, and I called this fella. I said, man, I want you to come here and tell your story. I asked him one question, and 45 minutes later, I asked him another question.
That's your fault.
Yeah, it is. VP, as a matter of fact, is one of the first shows on the Morning Glow years ago, man. But I asked him one question, and he told his whole history, man. 45 minutes later, I could have got up, made me coffee, and did all kind of things. And VP, what's on your heart, brother?
Not much.
Huh?
I forgot you had asked. I was going something that you asked Rico, but then I started listening to your story. I was like, dang, that sounds like me. You had asked Rico about an understanding question, and I can't think back what it was. But on the argument or with somebody, I know in my time with the military, it was. I know at each base, I would meet. It'd be somebody that I met that we know each other for 5-10 minutes, and it's been a lifelong friendship since then. I think me personally, God put people in people's paths to help you not lose your way, or they put somebody near to you. Well, you could say the enemy too. It depends on what type of person you are, but I ain't pessimistic. So I think you put it in paths that way you know you're going in the right direction. If you go your whole life trying to devalue understanding people, then you're not trying to understand the world. And you're kind of like, you're contradicting what understanding means. I don't think you have a choice but to understand someone's situation, or perhaps even with, because I was listening to y'all earlier when you talking about Republicans and Democrats, and both of them are 2 wings on the same eagle. However, there's an understanding on each side that brings it back to the middle. So long as you ain't sitting on the wingtips, then you ain't trying to understand each one of the political parties. If you're sitting around the middle, then you're actually trying to hear what somebody has to say, because you'll never have a perfect government or a perfect man or perfect woman. So arguing which party is better is a lack of understanding in my general sense of what it is to be a human being, because you always have, no matter, even if you're on the Democratic side and you're more towards the people and overall success of the people through a collective, then you are Republican with New Age Republican, where they put more money into corporations than they do in the business. Then
okay. You stop.
I don't know, man. Like I
see you kind of stopped abruptly on me there. You kind of threw me off. You kind of stopped abruptly. Yeah, because
my spirit stops me from being like you know what, you should choose this way or that way. I always try to talk open, but when it comes to like listening to it and understanding it, like people fail because of lack of understanding. That's period. That's you know, my paraphrase of biblical scripture, but you fail because of lack of understanding. So if you try to go through this world and not get people to understand you, then why are you living? Because that's the point. Like someone had brought up that if you're mute, how do you get people to communicate? If you see somebody mute and all they do is waving their arms around and you ain't trying to get to understand them, that's kind of a non-human way to treat someone.
That's good. Hold right there for a second. Let me go to Kurt. Kurt, what do you say to that? A person could be listening to you, but do they always understand you?
No, and sometimes that's not required.
Mm-hmm.
The understanding part is not required.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up to us to figure that out. Sometimes it's just up to us to just listen.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we listen with the idea that we must understand. And because we busy trying to understand, that we can have a tendency to take that understanding and flip it to judgment. Because our understanding is only as far as, how can I put this? For the most part, most people's understanding is only as far as their actual lives, what it is that they have gone through. So you listening to somebody, and you spend more time trying to understand what this person is saying, that in order for you to understand, you got to start judging what they're saying. We automatically go to, well, you should have did this, or you shouldn't have done that, or you should have did. Well, that ain't what they're talking to you for. Yeah, they just need somebody to listen to them. That's all. That's all they need. They don't need nothing else. They just need you to listen to them.
Don't say nothing. Just listen.
Just listen. Just listen, and listen intently. Another thing is, and if you're not working in the field, you know, you can't be mad at folk for doing that because they haven't been trained. Listening is a very, very powerful tool. And it's by far more powerful than actually conversation. There's a thing in active listening. There's a thing called active listening. And in active listening, one of the most important parts of active listening is being in tune with the conversation. Your responses sometimes do not have to be verbal.
Kurt, let me ask you a question. And I think this is something that happens in counseling a lot. When a person says something, just to make sure that you're connected with them, or that you're following them, or that you understand them, you repeat it, what they say. What is that called?
Oh man, it's been so long. Oh my God. Well, that's a part of active listening. That's a part of active listening, and I want to say it's the part of like assuring the client. You providing assurance to the client that, okay, I'm listening. It's called oh my God, is it? It's been so long since I've seen the work. It's active listening is to stay in tune, to stay to monitor tone, to reinforce. So basically, I can explain it better than I can give you the actual word, the terminology of it. Leonard might be able to give you the terminology.
I think what you're talking about is usually one of the techniques you use is summarizing. Like if you say something, I summarize what you said to make sure I'm clear that's what you said.
So that's for both parties. It's not just not for the client, but it's also for you as the counselor too.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure that I'm understanding this message the way you're sending it to me. And to let you know I heard you, I try to summarize what you said to get your agreement on that before I go further.
Okay, but what if during the course of that, and we got a couple other callers, I want to get to those callers as well, but what if during the course of that, either Leonard or Kurt, the person say, no, that's not what I said?
All you got to do is just intently, you just ask them to read. Well, tell me where that's the moment where you start to establish a rapport. So that person is looking for you to be honest, so because you're wanting them to be honest. So then you can just come back and honestly say, well, can you explain to me where I went off? Because here's what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll come back and they'll say, no, what I meant was this right here, blah, 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 this what happened. But what happens is that whole process, it becomes a give or take type of conversation. And by saying to them, by summarizing what they just said to you back to them, it lets the person know that you are listening.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that's really all they want is for somebody to listen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And let me read this. Public Citizen said people can tell when you are listening and judging versus just listening with your heart. Wow.
Yeah, that's that part of being in tune.
Yeah, exactly. We got another call. I think it's Bishop. Bishop, you with us?
Yes, sir, brothers. Good morning.
Good morning, good Bishop.
What you say, Leonard?
Good morning, good Bishop.
I knew he was gonna say it. But listen, hey, look, we owe some congratulations to the good Bishop this morning, man. Bishop got that award yesterday.
Oh,
yes, sir. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now we're asking the question this morning, and I need to hear from your heart, Bishop, pulling back all of the layers. Bishop, who understands you?
Wow. That's a good question, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Who understands me?
Without a shadow of doubt in your mind, Bishop, who understands you?
So it's actually a personal question towards me. It's not a generalized question, period.
Yes.
So who understands me? Leonard?
yeah, I understand, Bishop.
Well, y'all ought to cut that mess out. Y'all ought to cut that mess out.
Remember, understanding ain't always agreeing, but I do understand Bishop's point of view the majority of the time.
Yeah. But majority of the time. Okay, that's not all the time.
No, man, heck, do you understand yourself? Every day you find yourself, doing something or that you're not accustomed to doing, or learning that you have a different skill or taste for certain things. So easily.
That's a good question, ain't it? You ain't know you was coming into that, did you? You ain't know you was coming into that.
No, because it is a good question. I don't, I just tuned in when Kurt was speaking, and I was enjoying what Kurt was saying. So when he was speaking about listening and hearing, and people don't understand there are two different elements. I'm talking, you hear what I'm saying, but you're not really listening to me.
Mm-hmm.
So my words to you at that moment is really blah, blah, blah. You may hear a specific word. Then if I say, do you hear me? Yeah, man. And you said this, but they can't go back and regurgitate the entire conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But, to say who really knows me is a real question that I don't think I can even answer.
Wow. And a lot of times,
a
lot of times it's like you become like that Charlie Brown teacher. Want. Rico,
I guess that's what you want to say, but the reality is, because you're learning something new about your own self every day, as far as I'm concerned. So who can know me better than me?
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes I'm like, man, I didn't know I could do that, or man, I didn't know I could, I would like this. So who knows me better than me? God is the only one that knows me.
There you go. Rico,
a human, there's nobody.
Exactly. Well, is that a good place though? Is that a good place to be, Bishop? I'm going to go to Rico, but I want to stay with you just for a second more. Is that a good place to be?
I do think it is a great place to be, because you really don't want everybody knowing everything about you. You don't want anybody to be able to dictate your next move or your next thought.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say, well, my wife knows me, but I don't think that's a good thing. I think it's good that she knows you and knows of you, but I don't think you should allow anyone to know everything there is about you. There should be some level of privacy or secrecy that you want to hold within you. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, and I think what I'm going to say is, it's crazy, but it's real. So don't let everybody see all the other skeletons in your closet. Leave those skeletons in your closet. Don't give everybody everything about you, because they can take those same things that you have revealed to them and use them against you. Even sometimes those individuals that you call your ally can also just be a spy.
Wow. Wow. Okay, everybody mute your line. I got some background noise coming from somebody's line. Rico, I'm gonna come to you, and we got another caller. Ready to go to the other caller. Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, I'm about to drop a bunch of C words. You know,
the
thing I get most out of understanding is that if you don't have any understanding, you'll have a whole lot of confusion and chaos. A lot of misrepresentation. So I mean that's the reason why it's necessary to sort of have understanding, because if you don't, you can end up not surviving. You can leave yourself in a very vulnerable position. That chaos and that confusion. Just think about it. Not having any understanding. Imagine if we didn't know how a cell phone worked, how a computer worked. We'd be confused about it. If we didn't know how a car worked, how to put chemicals together to create oxygen. I mean, so you know, that understanding is very necessary for clarity, comprehension. So when you think about it, just not in the aspect of understanding another person, even just understanding trends, understanding the way society is going. If you understand the behavior of society as a community or whatever, understanding is so key. I want to go back to something VP said earlier, because when he said that about the bird having two wings and being on the side of the extreme end of those wings. And you know, sometimes without understanding, because we refuse to, something benefits us because we don't even want to see the other side. We might be on the extreme sides of those wings. Like me, I believe in the rights of transgenders. I think they should have all the rights that everybody else have. But if I had a child 4 or 5 years old in the library getting read to nursery rhymes by one, I might act a fool. I might be just as terrible as those extreme right-wing people at that point. Somewhere I'm confused. I done threw it out the window, so I don't really have a true understanding of where they're coming from. Even though I say, well, yeah, they deserve to be treated just like everybody else. The minute one try to teach my 4 or 5 year old child, I'm snapping. I don't want my children exposed to this. They need to put that in the bedroom. That would be my opinion. I wouldn't be understanding of the reason why they think it's all right to come to a library and read to young children like that. So we are still confused to a certain extent, even when we think we understand. And that's the reason why it's so necessary, because sometimes we could think we're going right down the middle, and then in the blink of an eye, we'll find ourselves on those extreme ends of those wings.
Wow, that's good. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, we're asking a question. I need to hear your whole heart on this one. But Cassandra, pulling back all the layers and dealing with the whole, just the straight reality of the situation. Cassandra, who understands you?
I hate to put it like this, but I think the only person that really understands me is God. I mean, being totally honest, because my personality, things about me, I think most people don't understand me. The average person, I'll say, don't understand me, because I do things that other people go like, well, why would you do that? You know, why would you go to that extreme for somebody? Why would you? So I think, you know, I'll be honest. I'm a very hard person to understand. So, yeah. So I don't. It's not very many people. Let me put it like that. That I think understand who I am.
Is that and again let's go deep into this thing, Cassandra. Is that a comfortable? Is that a safe place for you to be, or is that something that you would like to have a little different, if you could?
If I could have it different, I would. But it's okay, because I've learned over the years that, you know, some people will never understand why I do the things I do, or why I'm the person that I am. So, and it's okay. If we continue on the path that God has given us, I think we can get through people misunderstanding us, because we know that God knows why we do what we do. So for that reason, you know, I'm resolved with it. I'm good. It used to really bother me that I was misunderstood and like, well, what is her motives? Why is she doing that? Why is she helping? Why is she? But at this point, I'm all good. I'm all good.
That's good. That's good. Bishop, what's on your heart, sir?
I mean, it's Cassandra comes through all the time, and she imparts that level of wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And I had to agree, because the only one that really would know more about me and know me would be God. Most times, like I said, my wife introduced me to a specific food item that for 50 years, I ain't eating that. I jumped on taste good. You should just try it. And that's one of my favorite meals. So, you know, I cannot say when I know me, and so if I don't know me to every extent, then who in the world make you, what in the world make you think you know me to every extent? When the only thing I read when it says God knows the thoughts and intents of your heart. So who in the world is going to know you more than him or better than him? God. So, I give all the praise to God. But I do love the conversations and comments that are made. And I think I would like to piggyback on some Rico said, accept the person or person's, you know, life or them, because, you know, that's what we need to do. We're not here to judge. Like Kirk said, and when he was talking earlier, see, we here to judge. We don't here to listen. So you ready to jump on me when you did this? When I'm talking to you, when you shouldn't have did. Wait a minute, you ready to jump on me? I just need you to listen to me. I don't need you to judge me. And when we get into a position that we become judges of everything everybody else does, as though everything we do is absolutely right, and everything we do is, you know, going to allow us and give us assurance into the kingdom that you're going to be lost because of this. And the book told us not to judge. And it was very plain. Judge not, lest you be judged. For whatever measure you meet shall be measured on you. Be careful what you say. Be careful how you do, because it's going to come back up again. And the question is, are you going to be able to deal with the level of repercussion that you're trying to put upon this other individual? Because your punishment may be 10 times worse than what you can try to put this person into. And the Bible is clear. Whatever you sow, you sure going to reap from it. So I don't sit right here. I know Raheem as a person, as a radio host, as a television host, as a businessman. And that's all I need to know. I know he has a wife and children, but I ain't trying to govern and see everything Raheem do and say, man, I know you. I know you. I know of you. But I don't know you. I don't know what you're capable of. So, you know, that's my response. But outside of that, everybody else has great things.
Bishop, you took me somewhere when you said that right there. And I'm going to go to Donna after that, so Donna be on standby. But a lot of times I've heard people say this right here. Well, I know my kids. My kids didn't do that. I know my kids wouldn't act like that. I know my kids. No. And the shock that they have to deal with, and the disgust and the disrespect that they have to deal with. I don't know if disrespect is the right word, but when they realize that the kids really did do it, but I didn't. What do you say to that, Bishop? I know my kids won't act like that.
Yeah. Well, they would assume, because the way they brought their child up, that their child wouldn't do X, Y, and Z. But here's the real: you don't know everything that your children do. And if I can be frank or blunt about it, somebody asked me, with my middle son, who's very rambunctious, he's every bit just like his dad was when he was young. Said, does your son do drugs? I said, I don't know. You want to know if your son do drugs? I'm not around my son 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so I don't know what my son does. And I said, and if my son did do drugs or does do drugs, what I'm gonna tell you for? What you gonna do? Are you gonna help him, or you gonna talk about it?
Yeah, exactly.
So exactly. Like to me, all you want to do is talk about my son using drugs. You ain't said we need to start an intervention. But as for me, no, I don't know. And you know what they told me? You do know. That's your child. And again, I'm not with this young man all day, every day. Another thing, he don't live in my house. So what he do is his business.
Mm-hmm.
And I suggest that you mind your business. But they got mad at me when I said that. But it was what it was.
Tucson, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart?
Oh man, this is one of them. I don't know questions you got. Where were you when you thought of this? When you were sitting where in your rocking chair with your hands behind your head, get your feet up.
Hey, look here. When this here came to me, I'm gonna tell you the truth. When this here came to me, I was in front of the computer like I always do, and it came across, and I typed it on the screen right, like just like it came to me, and I was like, I don't know what in the world we're gonna go with this right here. I don't know what the world we're gonna talk about with this right here, but hey, I gotta be obedient, brother.
Yes, sir.
Man, Raheem, I like the way he said that. He fixed that up. But you know what? I really wondered, was him and his wife having a conversation, and he said something to her, and she said, "You don't know me."
Look, Rico. But see, but who do we really know though? Reality of the situation.
Nobody.
Yeah, thank you.
We don't know nobody, and we don't understand anyone.
Mm-hmm.
We try to. Mm-hmm. For all throughout our lives, from the time that we born to the time we die, somebody's trying to figure us out. And we the only one, because I thought about it. I have to go way out there somewhere, and I try to say, well, look, here's what God did.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to get us to really understand Him. I mean, he tried to revealed Himself through nature. He revealed Himself through the prophets. Every different avenue He can possibly get us just to know Him. And He finally sent His Son, and He said, "Here I am, right here. Here I am, right here, right before your eyes. Handle me, touch me. I feel like you. I hurt like you. Here I am. Just have the compassion." And we say, "Okay, I got it." Well, if you got it, why are there different, so many different denominations and faith walks, and we don't agree? Mm-hmm. We can pick up the same book and come up with so many different translations, and we still wind up in a confused state.
Mm-hmm.
We just can't be be obedient or whatever. You take a wife and a husband, they've been married 60 years, and he just go and do a simple act or say a simple thing, and she says or he says vice versa or whatever you want to say, and they say, "What did you say?" And then you say, "I didn't mean it that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what I said." Mm-hmm. It's so easy to misunderstand. We can't understand. I don't think it's possible.
Wow.
I don't know if it is. Because you can be walking in a direction and something happen and it change your whole mindset. Mm-hmm. You think you understand the person, and then they do something, and you say, "I don't believe they've done that." Yes, well, you missed it.
I've been knowing you. We've been knowing each other for 30-some years. I never thought you would do something like this. I never thought, Leonard. Exactly. Leonard, we've been knowing each other for over 35 years, and together just about every other day, if not every day. I never thought you would do something like that. Leonard, what is that saying?
I think you more so. I would say I'm disappointed that you did that. I can't say I'd be one of. I can't believe you did that or whatever. Blah blah blah. But there are some rare occasions where I'm just disappointed. Usually, because you're gonna do what you want to do. And when you were asking that question about a kid, I know my children will do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I would.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even care what you thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to at least understand that my children have that option as well.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody gets to talking about what somebody else wouldn't do and blah, 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 that's your perception. My weakness is not knowing what you see. That's my weakness. I have no idea what you think of me, what you see, what you think when you see me. You know, what's so funny, sometimes I just sit and I let people say anything. Well, you this, that, the other. Okay, I mean, that's what you believe. You've already made that decision. If you wanted my input, I'm assuming you would have asked. But I know people make up whole stories about you. Or they'll say, you look like you may be this, that, and the other. No, I just don't smile all the time. But I'm not mad about, you know how people say, oh, you mad. I mean, did I tell you I was mad?
Len, I'm gonna tell you something. This is way on back. Well, I was living in Colombia during this time, but I was dating this young lady, and she always had, you know, people think she was mad. She was from Brooklyn, and people think she was mad all the time. And I asked, I said, "Girl, you mad?" No. Yes, you are. She got mad at me because I told her she was mad when she wasn't mad. She got mad. She got mad at me for saying she mad. But man, Rico, what's on your heart, brother?
You know, most times when people take the time to get to understand you, they're really educating themselves on you or about you. And that's very important that they do that, because they can start beginning to understand why you move a certain way, why you believe the things you believe. You know, like we were saying earlier, you know, you don't have to agree with them. They don't have to agree with you. But at the same time, they're trying to educate themselves on your beliefs, your value system, how to operate around you, because they might have to operate with some gloves around you, you know. And what I mean by gloves, they have to be careful what they say.
Yeah.
They might need you for a specific purpose, but at the same time, they need to keep you in a certain place. They don't want you to get too excited, get too anxious, you know, because you might get out of hand. You might be a low. Imagine being a 5'8" supervisor somewhere, then you got somebody that up under you that work 6'4", about 280 pounds, full of muscle, and they mind a little bad.
I'm shorter than that.
You better get to understanding this man. You know what I'm saying? Somebody might have punked you. They might be trying to run you out their supervisor job. So what you got to do, you got to understand and educate yourself on this person. Find out how to operate around this man, how to operate with him. Because now you don't have no choice but to work with this person.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's really important for us to understand that, well, at least for me, to always be an understanding person. You know, I always try to see where somebody is coming from. You know, like I said, to understand and relate to, especially if I have to deal with them. If I got to deal with them, I definitely want to understand them. I don't want them coming around me and they got some very flawed and dysfunctional ways about themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Boy, that could be an ugly situation. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, you know, and I just thought about somebody mentioned about being with someone for years and still not knowing who they are, and really that happens much more than we think. I you know, I love murder mysteries and stuff, and I thought about the different serial killers, and most of them, the ones that were married, their family members had no idea that they even had that side to their personality. Like the Green River Club, this man was a scout leader, a deacon at the church, loved his children, took care of them, spent time with them, loved on his wife, and was out there killing like 30-something, 40 women. I mean, so sometimes we don't understand, or we don't know the people that we think we know most. So I'm not surprised by someone doing something and that I didn't expect, because I don't understand sometimes human personalities. I don't think any of us fully understand human personality. And we may know the person that we're with, but do you really know them?
Exactly.
I mean, really, no. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. And I think that's why the Bible is so important when it comes to marriage, because the Bible says that the two shall become one. And then you may better understand that person, because if you're walking in one, you know, in oneness, I'll put it like that. If you're walking in oneness, there are things in the spirit that you will know about that person that in the natural You may never know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Kurt, what's on your heart, brother? Kurt, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. You know, Cassandra just made like a valid point. I was just looking at a special. It's a new special on, I want to say it's Prime Video, and they talking about all of these so-called people who were movers and shakers like in a given community, and what everybody thought was upright. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like good citizens. And they talk about behind the scenes, like all the crimes they was committing. And she reminded me of, I cannot remember that dude's name, but he is considered one of the most prolific serial killers in the history of America. And he was like, he was the deacon of the church.
Wow.
He was the lead, the head steward at the church. Like, he was in church 4 days a week. So people never, like, his wife never thought to go in the basement. And this man had bodies in the basement. Like, you never know, man. And most of those people, when you think about people from the perspective of serial killers and stuff like that, they have mastered the art of listening. That's how they find out your weaknesses, is they listen to you. They listen to what's going on. They figure out, okay, who is up, who's down, who's going to be over here, who's going to be over there. Okay, how is such and such being treated? That, yo, they know, they have a whole background on you probably before you even take the time to recognize, hey, this person is stalking me. Like, it's real, man. When you can show people, one of the things I learned a long time ago is when you can show people that you're genuinely listening to them, the human brain automatically says, I should trust this person. You see what I'm saying? The human brain automatically says that I can say things to this person that I might not be able to say to nobody else, all because they're listening. And that is something, honestly, that we are lacking in this great American experiment, is everybody's talking, but nobody's listening.
Wow. That's good. VP, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh, that was a good piggyback. So that's exactly where I was about to go with it. It's a listening, because I think listening is different from understanding. You can listen, like you turn into this and listen to us talk for 3 hours straight. You can listen to it for 3 hours and turn your phone off, turn the internet off, and not understand a word we had to say. Now the understanding came from it, but if you listening, you entertain yourself to get bent. You probably in your brain went against some of the topics that we said or argue with it, but at no point did you want to understand the topic itself. I think that's what people do when they go through life, is they interact with people and they do listen. You listen to people all the time, and that's how you know your ears work. But understanding is taking that knowledge and using it wisely. So if I'm dealing with, and you do that as you go through your life, your understanding of listening to how certain people talk, listening to how they interact with people, because you can listen with your eyes too, and not. I believe Bishop has said you ain't got to say a word and understand people. I can look across the street and listen with my eyes that this crowd is probably not the one I want to go into, so let me go around them. But if you ain't got that understanding, you just gonna walk straight into the crowd, then it's a lack of knowledge. There's a lack of knowledge that's lost.
in the ability to grow. So being able to understand is a sign of growth. So if you like, I'm listening. I am listening to everyone, and I can't understand how people say they don't understand situations or understand people. You understand you don't want to deal with that person. You understand you don't want to deal with that business.
Yeah.
I think we're not giving us enough understanding or enough credit that we understand more than we want to put on. The thing is, you want to be God or be like God. So if you don't know the 100% about somebody, then now you don't understand them. No, you understand them. You just don't like what they do, or you like what they do, but you understand well, because that's what's keeping you from being in trouble or putting yourself in trouble. Is the understanding. That's what's keeping you poor, or having you live a rich life, and and that ain't got to be in money. And that goes beyond just, I guess, the listening aspect. That could be my lack of understanding. Because I think everybody listens. You got to. You're born with it. For ears to hear.
Exactly. That's good. Bishop, what's on your heart?
Hey man, now I'm at a point where I'm listening. I ain't just hearing what nobody's saying. I'm listening. But at the end of the day, of reality, nobody knows anything about everybody, because some folks don't even know themselves. You don't know what you would do. You don't know how you react if certain situation arose. You can assume in your mind this is what you'll do, but until you put in that situation, man, please, you just talking. And that's the way I look at it. I don't sit around here and try to judge and gauge everything everybody do. I let people be people. And I'm not trying to read him, her, nor they. I let them do what they're going to do. When they do it, my wife's dad used to always say, when somebody did something, I knew they were going to do it. I said, did you tell them they were going to do it before they did it? No, ain't none of them did it. I said, well, don't say nothing.
Bitch, you're going to get yourself in all kind of trouble. Leonard, save him, brother. Help him out.
Yeah, what you say, don't I knew they were going to do that. No, you didn't. Y'all did when did you tell them? So if you told them, see, man, you said you're a prophet now. That's what you're saying. You were a prophet. You thought before it came to pass. But you didn't tell them you're a terrible prophet.
Leonard, what's on your heart, man? I'm gonna say Bishop right now, because he gonna go real deep. Go ahead, Leonard.
Actually, I like what Bishop was saying, because when sometimes you listen to people, like I'm very goofy, right? So there's a lot of conversations that go on in my head at one time. And so when I'm listening to some people, sometimes, like my wife would tell you, I'm maintaining the appearance of being completely sane. Okay? So a lot of times I'll hear people just talking, and like the brother was saying before, sometimes, I just let people, I go as far as I can to try to understand. But like VP said, I know if you playing with me. I know. I mean, so sometimes I entertain you, and I just listen. You know how with a kid, you listen to a kid.
Yeah.
You listen to what they say. You're older than them. So you pretty much know which way they're going to go with it. But you listen to them. I want them to hear themselves say it. And then I want to present it to them in a way now, because that's what my mother used to do. She'd let you explain. It's like, does that really make sense to you? I'm more concerned that if that makes sense to you or not. Because if I'm trying to discipline you, I have to change your behavior. And it starts with how you think. So I'm trying to find out if you really think what you did was okay. Because then we have a problem. You know how if you're teaching people, what burns me up is when somebody, well, I need to fully understand it first. Well, no, you're fired because I need somebody to work today. I ain't got time for you to fully understand it. You'll get it as you go. But you're saying, well, I can't start, I can't do it because I don't fully understand it. No, you don't want to do it.
Go on out to the unemployment office and
go on down to the office and look for another job that's gonna let you stay in training forever and never get on the flow. But I need you to understand this is what we need to do right now.
Yeah.
Now you can go home and you can read the book later. It's like at some point you have to move into that doing stage of things.
Yeah.
You know, you shouldn't always, you know, there are some people that just give, you ever meet somebody that just give bad advice? Why do you think it's bad advice? Maybe that's the best advice they can give. To them, it may be fine. Like sometimes, you know, I love Rico to death. I mean, ever since when he first came on, I remember how Rico started off as if I'm not this. I'm like, that brother needs to change that. Because right after that, he seems completely enlightened about things. He tries to do the right thing. He loves helping people. What makes him in? Why would he think that he was less when it comes to something like that? So I'm like, he said one thing and then he came back and said other things that kind of helped me understand him. You know, he's a lot more empathetic than me. He's a lot more concerned about people's feelings and what has happened to them and their traumas than I am. That's where he's at. So where I may not like what he say, that's him though. That's him. That's where he comes from. That's how he makes his decision. And I think when we try to take that from people is where we mess up, than allowing them to see and make a change. That's why I love, like with Christianity, for instance, I'm not very aggressive about it or whatever, because no one was aggressive with me. God ain't never just made me do nothing, ain't never been nasty to me or anything like that. So I'm trying to figure out how other people wind up becoming Christian, but be you know, they so nasty about it because Jesus wasn't like that. You know, so that's funny to me how folks can say one thing and do another. Constantly over and over, thinking that somebody ain't gonna find out. Or that they can hide it long enough when you usually tell on yourself.
Let me keep this thing going. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis? Cassandra? Cassandra, wake up and go to sleep. Wake up and go to sleep. Keep this thing going. Rico, talk to me.
You know, I also want to go back to what VP said, man. He hit a dead on fact, man. You can understand if you want to. You know, it sort of takes me back to the first topic you had this morning. I was thinking of, when you were talking, I was thinking about all men are created equal, right? And that is the image that people put out there. And that sometimes sociopaths, they have extreme levels too. Some of them are serial killers and some of them are career killers. Some of them kill you emotionally. They don't kill you physically, but they're still sociopaths. So now here it is, all men are created equal. And to a certain extent, that can be understood two different ways. See, it comes off as, hey, everybody had the same rights as the next person. But then, and imagine somebody from the 1% saying, you know what? All men are created like equal. Your granddaddy could have went and killed people and took their land too, just like mine did. Could have been a little bit more understanding to it. Ain't my fault that your ancestors didn't take advantage of pillaging and colonizing. So I don't believe I should have to pay reparations for the past. Matter of fact, I don't believe in profit sharing. It ain't my fault that your parents didn't make enough money to send you to college. It ain't my fault that you were probably smart enough to take a scholarship, but you had to go to work because your family was poor and living in poverty. Yeah, I understand poverty. Ooh, it's such a bad thing. But for the sake of the United States, we need to improve on education and health care. But you need to pull your bootstraps up and get out there and work for it. It ain't my fault. All men are created equal. So, you know, on the bottom end, you're looking at that statement and you're looking at it in a different light. You're looking at it from the aspect of needing benefits and depending on the government to make sure your rights are equally, distributed. But then from the elite side, those that want that money because money is the tool to gain power, they feel like it's your fault or not your fault, but your ancestors' fault for not doing the same thing that their ancestors did, regardless of what advantages they had. So, when you start thinking about understanding, are you truly understanding enough to say, you know what? I think we do need to have some profit sharing. I think I do need to pay more taxes.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between generational trauma and generational wealth? If you could have generational wealth, you could definitely have generational trauma. But see, some people lack that understanding to even associate those two together. And they'll say generational trauma isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
But if generational wealth is true, definitely generational trauma can be true too. So, I mean, it's a matter of the perception of the person. But always remember, a sociopath wants to portray the image that he wants to receive. And he wants you to understand that image.
Exactly. We're going to keep this thing going. We got 4 minutes before we get out of here. So I'm going to touch a few more people. VP, give me your quick version, brother. What's on your heart?
Let me voice my son. The quick version. I like what Leonard said and Bishop too. When we do get to try to understand somebody, and we act like we understand somebody, we kind of overstep boundaries sometimes and pretend like we know everything. And that's a lack of understanding as well. Because sometimes, you never know a person fully. And I think that's what Cassandra said. So during this whole thing, what I get from this is, if you're going to listen, make sure you're listening to a degree of understanding, but not the full understanding, because it's not for you to know somebody fully, but just to recognize their potential and purpose.
Good deal. Kurt, your quick version, brother. What's on your heart? Kurt, you there? Okay.
I'm gonna send that creative assignments over to you on Wednesday.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
What the world Kurt doing over there?
Rico, he talking to somebody else.
I know. Wait a minute. Unmute your phone there, Kurt. We don't want to.
But you still trying to talk to us, right?
Look, we shouldn't be privileged to that. Donna Tucson, what's on your heart, sir?
But it's going down Wednesday.
Yes, sir.
Was you listening? It's going down Wednesday.
Hey, look, you best be ready. It is going down. Tucson, what's on your heart?
Man, I hope that man can explain that one right there, man.
Tucson, you there? I think Tucson done jumped off on us too. Who else we got? Let me see. Bishop.
No,
there you go. Talk to me, Bishop. Yeah, Kurt got some explaining to do.
Thank you so much for time. All right, bye-bye.
I want to hear that conversation, man.
Kurt, you need to mute your line. Kurt, mute your line.
Talking trash about me.
Kurt don't care. Kurt don't. He don't.
It is going down.
I unmuted the line because you was talking all that trash. I said, well, let me at least let him hear that I'm on a phone call in my office. But see, you just indignant.
We go. Tell him what you said. What it's gonna do Wednesday.
Hey, man, he said it's going down. Best believe it's going down, man. I hope that man wife ain't listening, man. She gonna think so. She gonna need some understanding.
Whatever it is. Wednesday. That's when it's happening.
You better not go out this house Wednesday. You better not leave this house Wednesday.
But see, that's listening. See, we were listening.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna tell you one of the techniques. One of the techniques I use to help me listen to people is, even with TV, I just listen. I may not look at the picture. Like, one, I don't prefer being on screen, but that's what you do, so I'll log on to be on screen. But a lot of times I'm just listening. So I pick up stuff I hear quicker than the stuff that I'll see. because I really want to hear what you're saying, so I can't focus on everything else, and I just listen to what you say. That's how he was in a completely different conversation. But I know that it's going down Wednesday because I heard it.
Yes, sir. It's going down. Kurt, you care to explain, brother?
And you still being nosy. That man don't want you to talk about.
I'm doing my job on Wednesday, and my wife knows what my job entails. I'm what you call an essential worker.
You see,
so for all your listeners, I'm an essential worker. I work with a population that most of y'all don't want to work with. I wish I would love to work with them.
So what you're saying is we need to go and write you an affidavit right now. We
understand. We understand. It's very essential, so essential that it is definitely going down Wednesday.
And you say it entails. That what you said, right? Then I hear you say entails.
Well, they ain't no good. You know he ain't no good, Kurt. You know it.
Listen,
he ain't no good. You know what though? I wanted to say.
What's that?
I heard everybody talking about listening, right? And I heard somebody say something about listening with the eyes.
Yes.
Let me tell you how powerful that is. For those of us who really can't read, like we can't speed read, to hone in your listening with your eye skill, as crazy as this may sound, the easiest way to do that is to go to an opera. Yep. Because those of us who can't read, like speed read, you have to listen with your eyes. If you don't, you will miss what the opera's about because the subtitles is going so fast that it's almost impossible for your eyes to engage the subtitles that's at the top of the stage and the stage itself. So eventually you just start, your eyes lock on to what's going on stage. And because you're listening with your eyes, you actually get a better understanding of what this opera is about. It is a phenomenal tool. One of the greatest operas I've ever seen. I've only seen like 4 in my lifetime. One of the greatest operas I've ever seen is an opera called The Bald Mask. And I couldn't read the subtitles. Back then, I wasn't even reading on a 5th grade reading level. And I couldn't read the subtitles because they was going too fast. And I locked my eyes in on that stage. Man, every tear that was shed in that audience, I was shedding them. Every emotion that was going on, when you had those emotions of you hate this character or you hate that character, I mean, I was feeling all of that, but I was only listening with my eyes. I was unable. I was listening with my eyes because I was unable to read what was on the screen.
That's good. That's good. Rico, what's going on at 3 o'clock today?
If you missed today's show and would like to catch the replay in its entirety, tune in at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on www.dkmmedia.com or on Facebook at DKM 1.1. DKM Media 1.1.
No, you got to write DKM Radio 1.1. Yes, sir. You own it. Captain Leonard.
Yes, sir.
Get you to prayers house, sir.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you once again for another opportunity to share with believers all over the world. We hope that we touch someone's heart, that they can reconsider this walk. These are the blessings we ask in your Son Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Kurt, mute your line, man. I can hear you typing on that computer over there.
I'll be there Wednesday, Kurt. Don't worry about
it. We got your back, bro. We got your back. Wednesday. Way out Wednesday.
Man, y'all gonna mess around and have to explain some stuff to y'all wife too. Y'all keep on talking like that, man.
Let me go and write the affidavit now, just in case, so we know exactly where Kurt was on Wednesday.
We gonna write that over
alibis. Y'all gonna be the alibis.
Exactly. Amen.
Hey, it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. More than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your morning. We're about to get out of here for today, but I need y'all to do something for me, y'all. Before I even go to the second part, I need y'all to do something for me, man. We're not doing a broadcast tomorrow. We're actually doing a rebroadcast tomorrow. Say a prayer for my mother. She's having an open heart surgery tomorrow, and so I have to go to Columbia to go up there and certainly gotta be with her. And so So we won't be doing a broadcast tomorrow. Hopefully, all goes well. We'll be back here Wednesday morning. But I'm gonna stay with her the whole time, make sure everything is well with her, make sure she got to be in the hospital for about 2 weeks. And so I'm gonna be back and forth between here and Columbia, hanging out, checking on my moms, and also y'all, if y'all get an opportunity to say a prayer for my mom as well for the surgery she's having tomorrow. Now it is 10:05. We're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. That we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Y'all take care of each other. Love you and be blessed.